Okay, boss. Now in this class, like we're just logging into the system, and then so I have got logon SAP BW installed, and I have a server, and in the logon pad you can just open like this. Start programs SAP front end. You'll have what is logon, which will open your logon pad, or you'll have a shortcut in the desktop logon. So in this logon pad, if I have server details, I'll just create a new connection with some description and server IP address, system number, system ID, yeah, and then I'll start getting connected. Now I've got a connection already with details in it. This is my server IP. My system ID is 35 and the number, and the system ID is this. Because every SAP system would have something called system ID, which will be 3 characters. Okay. And I'm just logging in here. So username we'll see this client later. So I'm able to log in with different languages. Yeah. So I've not specified anything. By default it gets in with English because we have a T code where you can see the information about the user. We have a T code in SAP, it's all with T codes first. We call this as command bar, and you execute the T code here. When you execute the T code, what happens? Every T code will be associated with some ABAP program. So when you execute this T code, it is going to run this program and give you the results. Okay. So SU01 is a T code. SU01D is a T code where you can display the user details. Okay. When I go to SU01D, what is my user? SAP user. When I see this, logon data, by default language you'll have. Where is default? So you have language. Okay. By default it takes English language. Okay, now I've got logged in. Now we get into the T code RSA1. Okay. So that's your data warehousing workbench, and that's a T code where you do all your BW modeling or extraction, all the stuff here. So entire BW modeling is done here. Yeah. So this is what RSA1 is. And in this T code, you do all the BW, whatever we discussed about cube, DSO, InfoObjects, all modeling is all done here. Okay. Now look at this. When you get into this T code, you have different tabs here. Look at this. Modeling, yeah. Under modeling, you have different menus here. Again, we have administration, we have transport connection. We got different menu tabs here. So when you say modeling, this is where you basically do all modeling of all the data warehousing objects like cube, DSO, master data, loading, data source, transformations, all those stuff you do it here. And there's something called what? Administration. This is where you deal with something called, you remember process chains? Like when you want to build a graphical scheduling tools, you basically build up a graphical node with all the back-end job activities what you want, and this can be scheduled. And then there's something called transport connection, because in the real time we'll have landscape like development, quality, production. When you want to transport through the objects from development to quality environment to production environment, then we use what? Transport connection. Then there's something, we have documents which will have document services. We can store documents within BW server also. Then next is BI content. So when I say BI content, very important to know this. There is something called business content in BW. So let's say you have some requirement from the business user and you want to model a cube. You want to model what? Info cube. Yeah. So what SAP has done is, for most of the requirements what customers would have, they have given you ready-made cubes. They have given you ready-made DSOs. They have given ready-made master data, ready-made info objects, ready-made BEX queries, ready-made reports, ready-made process chains. There are a lot of stuff which is given ready-madely delivered by SAP. We call that as business content. So any object which is delivered by SAP ready-madely, we call that as business content. And ready-made cubes, ready-made yeah. But only thing is, all the business content objects which are delivered by SAP will be in which version? Delivered version. Will be in which version? Delivered version. but I can only use the object if it is in active version. Only if it is active I can use it. But all the business current objects are in which version? Delivered version. So I need to what? So then I go to BI content, find my cubes what I want, I collect the objects, then I install them. So when you install the business current objects, what happens? It creates the objects from delivered version to active. It doesn't convert, it creates a copy. Delivered version object atle untundi. It creates one more copy of this object as what? Active, and then we start working on it. So either no ready-made object vadalanko, first you should come to BI content here, collect the object, and you have to install it. When you install what happens, it creates copy of that object into what? In what? Active version, then you can start using that object. Clear on this, boss? Yeah. And then there is a menu called translation, which we can use it for translating objects from one language to another language. Let's say you are logged into English and created a cube in English. Now you want to translate it to Arabic, or you want to translate it to English, sorry, German or something, you can do this translation. Yeah. Then there is something called metadata repository. This is where you can get to see the complete metadata what is maintained. Like every object you create, cube or DSO, all the details of these objects are maintained in metadata repositories. Clear on this? Yeah. Like so, but within RS1 you would spend more time into what? Into modeling this. So if you understand, see what is it we're doing? We're logging into BW to implement some data warehousing application for a customer. Data warehousing, there is a customer who has got all his transaction systems where the transactions are happening. You would like to extract data from those transaction systems, consolidate, and then do what? Reporting this. That's the requirement. So now that means you're using BW software and implementing a data warehousing solution for my customers, where you basically configure the cubes, DSOs, reports, which will be loaded with the data from the different source systems. Clear, boss, everyone? Okay. So you're trying to build a warehouse in using BW. Boss. Clear, boss? Okay. So when you say building warehouse, it's all about like this. Look, you should get this understanding. Say my customer has got some data in some system, some source system, whether it is Oracle, SAP, whatever it is. So I analyze the data. Then based on that I find out how many columns I've got. So then I'll go back to BW, create so many InfoObjects, you group those InfoObjects, create a cube or what? Master data or what? DSO. Then extract the data from the source system and then load into those targets and then start doing reporting. Ante BW. You getting this? Yeah. So now let's see how do we build a data warehouse. Yeah. And now what I want you to do is, sir, Mali chepta. Now, so how do we build a warehouse is what we focusing. See, for now we are not focusing anything internally. I'm just taking you through how do we create steps ela untundi antavarku. Just walk through on the system. Okay, boss? Yeah. Now first thing, when you want to build a warehouse, you go about creating all these objects one by one. Yeah. Now look at it. Let's say I want to implement some data warehousing solution for a customer. Let's say I am building it for some BMW company. Let's say I've been the BW consultant for BMW customer and I'm trying to build a warehouse solution for them. Okay, boss? So I start doing with this now. First what I do is, I'm speaking about development phase, okay? Now first we create something called info area. First we create something called info area, and info area is similar to your folder in Windows. మన Windows లో మన folder ఎందుకు వాడతాము? We use folder to organize your files, right? Same way in BW I use info area to organize my objects. What are the BW objects I'm going to create, like cubes, DSOs, all this? I'm going to organize them as part of like folder by using info area. What I'll do, I'll be creating, like when I'm going to generate some reports, I'll be creating sales cubes, finance cubes, inventory cubes. I'll be creating lots of purchasing cubes, lots of types, right? So what I just want to group them functionally. I'll create one area called sales, and under this area I'll store all my sales cubes into it. I'll create one more area called finance. I'll store all my finance cube. Only logical grouping. There's no mandatory rule that I should have sales area to create sales cube. No. Okay, boss? Yeah. Yeah, it's packaged like this. Now look at this, and some more points to be noted. First, look at this. Every object you create in BW, whether it is info object or InfoCube or ODS or master data or BEX query, whatever, any object you create, it will always have two names. One is technical name and one is description. Technical name and description. And technical name is what used internally by the system to recognize that object, and description is for the users to understand what this object does. Even an object pair ZDAC cube and is that description is this is a sales cube and is no description నీకు అర్థమవుతుంది. Technical system చూసుకుంటాడు. So every object, okay, whether it is info area, cube, DSO, anything you create, it will always have two objects. One is technical name and one is description. Okay, neighbors? Now next concept, once I create an object, okay, once we create an object, we cannot change the technical name. If you want, you can change the description. If you want to change the technical name, only option is you should delete it and recreate with the new name. Okay, so every object would have technical name, description, that's fine. And once the object is created, I cannot change the technical name. If you want to change the technical name, you have to drop it out and recreate again with the new name. That's the only option.
That means we can't rename.
We cannot rename technical name. If you want to rename, delete and recreate with the new name. That's the only option. Clear? And next, one more point. All your business content objects. I told you what is business content object. In business content, you will also have info areas, you will also have InfoObjects, you will also have cubes, everything is given. Okay. All technical names of the business content objects will be prefixed with this 0. So I would have InfoObject like 0 customer, 0 material, 0 product. Every business content object will have the technical name prefixed with 0. Okay, numbers, yeah. And the objects what we create, you can prefix with anything. There is no mandatory rule that you should prefix Z or Y. There is no rule like that. Okay, generally in the real time they would have some naming standards how they would like to have it. Say they try to prefix Z or Y something to indicate that is a custom object. Custom object is what we create, and standard object is what SAP is delivered to you. Yeah. So standard objects will have 0 as a starting number, and what we create we should go with some character like Y or Z or something. Yeah, but not mandatory. You can use any character. Yeah. So now let's show you how do I create info area. Just getting into this. Let's say depending on the menu what you select here, your right screen would change this. Okay. I'm getting into RS7 modeling tab. I'm getting into this menu. What is menu? Info provider menu. On the top node here, info provider, just right click on this. So BW is all about right click or double click. Then choose option what? Create info area. Then does it ask you technical name and description? So technical name I will say BMW. So first I want one folder as company name. Yeah. So this is the info area what. So description can have any special characters. Okay, no problem. Yeah. If you scroll down, you should find your area. Do this. Do you get this? BMW Munich, Germany. Yeah. So it's very tough to see the bottom, right? What I'll do now is I'll just set this as my favorites. I'll say what is here? Add to favorites. So then I can see my area here. Only info areas which are set to favorite, I can see that in favorites menu. Okay. Now find this one easy for everyone to see it. Yeah. Now under this area I would like to have some more areas. One is for sales. I want, yeah. Right click, I'll say again what? What do you say? Create info area again. So I'm just selecting this and creating. So it is going to create under this here. I'll say create info area. I would say BMW sale. Now did I prefix with Z or Y? Not mandatory. This is a technical name and this is a description. Okay. BMW sales. I want one more with finance. Okay. So create again info area. BMW fin. Yeah, I would say. Like this I can go with n number of levels. There is no limit like how many information you can create. Okay. It's just about organizing your project. Yeah? But I'm not okay with this description. I want to change it. So I can right click on this and say what? Change. And where you're able to change only what? I can't change technical name. So this is my description what I wanted. Okay, boss. So like this, you can go to creating info areas. Info technical important aim లేదు, only organizing ante. Okay, boss, fine. Fine, boss. See, ultimately, when you say you're building a warehouse applications, what is that you do? Based on the source application requirement, I'll create info objects, group those info objects, create a queue, load, report. Antena? So my major step would be about what? Creating info objects, then group them, create a queue, then what? Do reporting. Yeah. So next step would be about creating info objects, right? Now, do we have different types of info objects? Characteristics, time, unit, key figures, now then what I want to do is I would like to classify, or I would like to do grouping on those types. So what I want is, instead of creating all info objects at one place, I would like to have one folder where I can create all my characteristic info objects there. I would like to have one folder where I can create all my key figures under it. Is it not again organizing us? Info objects and instances chese badalu type, based on the type I want to do grouping of it. Okay, then I do something called InfoObject catalog. So we use InfoObject catalog to organize the InfoObjects based on their type. So what I'll do, I'll go about creating one InfoObject catalog of type char, and I'll have all the characteristic InfoObjects into it. I'll create one more catalog of type key figures, then I'll create all key figures under it. Organize just now. Okay, boss. So basically, I'm trying to build data warehousing for sales now. Okay, for BW. Let's say I'll go back to area. Now, how do I create my? Now, what is that we're creating now? InfoObject catalogs. So InfoObject catalogs are used to group those InfoObjects based on the types. Okay. Now look at this. RSA1, yeah. Modeling tab, yeah. Then you get into what is menu here. InfoObjects menu. In this, you should find the same area what you already created. Do you find your BW area here? No, right? If you don't find, just refresh it once. Otherwise, system problem. I'm just executing RSA1 once again. Yeah. Now, do you see this the bottom? Like this, I'm confused now. Okay, boss. Now this is my area, and I got sales, boss. So what are the info area created in InfoProvider block? You get to see the same thing in what? InfoObjects, same area structure you will find. Now I'm trying to build a warehouse for sales. So under sales, I'm going to create my InfoObjects. Now those InfoObjects I want to group on the type, one for char, one for key figures. So now under this sales, I'm going to create one InfoObject catalog of type characteristic to hold characteristic InfoObjects under this. I'm going to create one more InfoObject catalog of type key figure to hold key figures under this. Okay. Now right click on the sales. What? Right click on the sales and say what? Create InfoObject catalog. So I'll say BMW SLS and say char. What? That's my technical name of the catalog, and this is a description. BMW sales, I'll say char. Now here, the right button you choose whether you want it to hold what? Characteristics or not. So this is a catalog for characteristics. Say create. Just don't do anything, just say what? What do you say? Activate this, don't do anything. So now it says the object is saved and object is active. Because any object, only if it is active, I can use it. First time when you're creating object, it will be new. And when I activate, it gets into active version. And after activating, if you modify, it comes into modified version. Until unless I reactivate, I can't use it. I got one catalog for char. Now same way I want one catalog for say key figures. I say BMW. Now this time which data button should I select now? Key figure. So now I'm creating catalog for key figures. I'm just hiding this screen here so that I can see. Now what is the version here? New. So as soon as I activate, this is the button you say. Activate it gets into active version. Okay. That's it. Like this, I got two catalog, one for char and one for key. Even for finance, still I can create, but I don't need now. Yeah. So under the characteristic catalog, I create characteristics. Under the keyword catalog, I'll create what? Key figures. But do we have catalog for time? Do we have catalog for unit? We cannot create. we cannot create InfoObject catalog for unit or time or technical, not possible. You can only create catalog for care and key figures. This is about creating catalog. And the tough for BW. Anta double click right click. Okay, boss. Even to right click yeah. Clear? So if I just create some InfoObjects for you, for only for demo purpose I'm going to create. I know there is no requirement at all. I'm just doing some demo because I wanted to introduce you to InfoObjects. Okay. Next is what? InfoObjects. And in InfoObject is a basic structure which we use it to build up any structure in BW. And if like you want to create a cube or you want to create ODS, you want to create a master data, anything you want to create, it is all based on what? InfoObject. It will be same way you have to use InfoObjects and build up your structure. Clear? That's the base object. Yeah? Clear this? And once you create InfoObject, can it be reused in n number of structures?
Yes.
Once the InfoObject is created, can I reuse it? Yes. I can reuse it in n number of cubes, n number of structures, but can I use the same object twice in a structure? No. That's the point. Clear on this, boss? Good. Okay, boss? And how many types of InfoObjects we have? Characteristic, key figure, time, unit, and then technical, boss. Basic converter. Key figure ante, if you can aggregate that, then it becomes a key figure. If you are not able to aggregate, then that becomes characteristic. And all descriptive, normal descriptive keys, it is all normal characteristics. And holding time factor data, it is what? Time characteristics. Holding unit of currencies or measures, then it is unit characteristic. And technical keys like request number, data packet, record number is like technical. A mind lo padala endi edaina aggregate mana add cheyagaludam anuko, then that becomes what? Measures. And if you cannot aggregate those values, then it is what? Characteristics. Okay. And then is if you want to hold time factor data like date, month, year, quarter, then what? Time. And the next is if you want to hold like currencies or unit of measures, then unit characteristics. And all the request number, data, like all the information about loading, data loading strategies, then you go with what? Technical characteristics. Okay. Now clearing, look at this. You cannot create time characteristics. You can only use a time characteristics what is delivered by SAP. You cannot create technical characteristics. You can only use technical characteristics what is delivered by SAP. And you can create characteristics. You can create keyword. You can create what? Unit characteristics also. So I'll just show you one how to create characteristics, how to create key figure, and how to create unit also. Dumping JC undadu. Now let's say in the source could be Excel also. Let's say in the source I have a column like say customer and a column, and it holds values like C100, C200, and say C3. Ila column undu. So I in BW I would like to have a same type of column which can hold values like this. Assume this is like a source. It could be Oracle, ECC, etluna table laga untundi. Itla column untundi. Source lo I have a column like this, and I would like to simulate the same kind of column in BW which can hold these values in Atlantic column. Okay, so now tell me, will that be a characteristic or key figure? Characteristic. So for this column, let me create InfoObject of type characteristic which can hold these values into it. So how do I create a characteristic? Now look at this. RSA1 modeling menu, modeling tab in what? Objects menu. Select this characteristic catalog and right click on this. And so what is the option here? What is? Create InfoObject. See, when I'm selecting option here, did I select create characteristic InfoObject or create InfoObject? I never specified the type. But look at this. But what it says? But how does it understand that you're creating characteristic? Excellent. I'm trying to create this InfoObject under InfoObject catalog of type char. So when I create InfoObject under that, it will be all what? Characteristics. That's the concept. And the same way, if I say select the keyword catalog and say right click and say create InfoObject, then it creates what? Atla. No, a catalog in the chester, then but InfoObject type define out automatically. Now right click on the char and say what? InfoObject. Again, like any other object in BW, even for InfoObjects, you should specify technical name and description. Ante kada. InfoObject ketla cheppinavu, InfoObject ketla ichinavu, InfoObject kuda atlage ivvalli. Now technical name I want it like say BMW. I won't recognize this for BMW. I would say CNO. And maximum length can go up to 9, not more than that. 6 ayin kada. 10 is sir, maximum length can go between 3, minimum is 3 characters, max is what? 9 characters. Okay, of the technical name, not description. I am okay with BMW, any technical name you want you can give in, okay. Real time labor naming convention document, they follow the document, they build up the naming, yeah. And now it's what? Customer number. This is my technical name description. Now save up. Okay. Now it takes me to a screen. 1 second. Either pettesi. So this is a screen where you can start defining all the properties of your InfoObject. This is InfoObject technical name descriptions. Okay, I'll come to details later, but now the first property specifies data type. What kind of data type do you want? What does this data type define? What type of data are we going to store? Okay. Now if you say data type is char, it means it can hold alphanumerics, alphabets, numbers, rendu pettukochu. If I say data type is num-c, it is only numerics but treated as character, numeric character. Num-c, numeric numbers, but still treated as characters. Does it make difference here when you write like this? It will 100 raseki, single quotes lo 100 raseki difference. 100 rasa number, single quotes lo number string, numeric string. That is the point. Yeah? When I say num-c, it will be what? Numeric string. Only numbers but treated as string. Okay. And when I want it to hold dates, then what I'll say? Dates. In SAP, date always is stored with YYYYMMDD. No dot. Internally does not store with dot or slash. It stores without dot, without slash. And then what is this here? Next is times. If you want to hold time data, hour, minute, seconds, then you go times. Okay, chudu. Now, based on your requirement in the source, you should understand the requirement, then define it. So, basically, look at the data in the source and tell me whether it should be what? Character or what? Now tell me, it's going to what characters? Yes. So, what data should I go with now? It's alphanumeric data. So what will I do? Select based on the source field definition, you will determine the data here. Okay, I'll say what? Char. Okay, and then length. Look at the length here. What is the length?
4.
How many digits does it hold? How many characters?
4.
Max 4. Suppose if you have something like say C, then what will I do? I'll take the length of the maximum value. I'll take the length of the maximum value character. So it says I'm something around 6. So I'll say what? 6. And if you say search help here, it shows me maximum length what it is available. Yeah. What is it? Previously in older versions till BI 7 we only had maximum length as 60. From BW 7.3 we have a flexibility of having length as what? 250. We had some problems with this, but 60 or kunnindi we put 250. Okay. But how much you want? 6. And then if you basically set this, okay, that's fine. One more thing is, so now does your data does it hold caps and lowercase letters both?
Yes.
So in this InfoObject, do you want to allow lowercase letters?
Yes.
At caps lowercase would allowed or not? Yeah. So I'll say then the checkbox. What is checkbox? If you enable the checkbox, it means okay. For this InfoObject, it can store lowercase. Lowercase and only lowercase. Caps by default caps is allowed. If you want to allow lowercase also, then you will enable the checkbox. So now when you look at the data, it can hold caps as well as lowercase also. Okay. Now we'll come to this later. Now there's something. What is here? Output length. It's what? 6. Why? Because if I'm see what is length and output length? This length is the length required to store the value, and this is the length required. Output length is the length required to display the value in the reporting. Now for customer number, if I'm storing a value like C99999, obviously I would need 6 length to show that also. In this case, it does not change. For example, if I want the dates, okay, if I want to go with the dates, then look at this. Input length is right. What is the output length? Because internally in SAP it does store data as what? YYYYMMDD, no dot, no slash. So to store it is 8 length, but while displaying I will store with what? DD dot mm dot YYY, right? So what is the length there? 10. But if you go TIMS, then input length is 6, output length is 8. ఎందుకు అవర్ HHMMSS చూపించిన కదా HH.mm డాట్ కాదు కోలన్ పెడతాం అట్లా. సో లెంత్ ఇస్ వాట్ 8. సో ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ డేట్స్ అండ్ టైమ్స్ ద ఇన్పుట్ లెంత్ అండ్ అవుట్పుట్ లెంత్ could differ, but basically in type of care you may not find any difference here. Okay boss, I'll tell this later what it is. And they say what act. This is about creating InfoObjects. పెద్ద కథ ఏమన్నా సింపుల్. ఇంకా సపోజ్ ఇంకా నాకు ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఎక్కడుందంటే in while choosing properties is my problem. If someone gives me an Excel sheet saying InfoObject technical name ఇది, description ఇది, data type ఇది, length ఇది చెప్తుంది, నువ్వు చేస్తావు వర్ష పెట్టి కొడతాం కదా. I was facing problem in determining whether should I go with care or not కదా. ఆల్రెడీ ఒకటి ఎవడో చేసి పెడితే చూపిస్తే మనకు గబ్బగా కొట్టేయచ్చా చెప్తా. Because in BW it is more simpler because I already have source system. If it is Oracle, okay, if you need to extract it from Oracle, if you look at the table definition Oracle, I would know what data type is using there, what length is using there. I can simulate the same thing in BW. కొత్తగా కనుక్కునేది ఏం లేదన్న, అది ఉండేది పెడతా ఉంటాము. నెక్స్ట్ ఐ వాంట్ కాలమ్ లైక్ సే revenue, which can hold like so I want a column like this which can hold numbers. Now revenue is a key figure. Enduku we can aggregate because a shortcut anta. So what I'll do now, I'll select this keyword catalog, right click, and one more point. Revenue is the amount number. Do you see a difference between number and amount? What is different number and amount? అది కూడా డెసిమల్గా ఉంటుంది. 50 రూపీస్ 60 పైసా అది కూడా డబ్బులే కదా. అది. సో when you refer a keyword as amount, it must have currency. When you say keyword as number, you don't need currency. For example, say నాకు ట్యాక్స్ పర్సంటేజ్ అంట, ఇట్ ఈస్ లైక్ 12.36 11.36. దీనికి అమౌంట్ ఉంటుందా బస్? అది పర్సంటేజ్ వాల్యూ, ఇట్స్ నంబర్. ఇట్స్ అగైన్ కీ ఫిగర్. ఐ కెన్ అగ్రిగేట్ వాట్ ఇస్ మై టోటల్ పర్సంటేజ్ అంటే తెలుస్తుంది. బట్ ఇఫ్ లుక్ అట్ రెవెన్యూకి దీనికి ఏమన్నా డిఫరెన్స్? రెండు నంబర్లే, ఏమైతే ఏం డిఫరెన్స్? దీనికి ఖచ్చితంగా రెవెన్యూ కరెన్సీ ఉండాల్సిందే, దీనికి ఉండదు కరెన్సీ. అది ఓకే. సో అప్పుడు కరెన్సీ కావాలి కాబట్టి రెవెన్యూ ఇన్ ఐఎన్ఆర్ అంట, అప్పుడు దీనికి అర్థమైంది. ఓకే 100 రూపీస్, ఇది 2500 రూపీస్. Okay, now I want to create a key figure. What is the key figure I want? Revenue. And it is holding values what? What value, what type of data does it hold? Simple. I am asking question, does it hold data like amount or number? Amount. So when you say amount, should I specify currency kada? Same atle SAP kuda ante. Now like right click on the keyword, say what? Create InfoObject, say BW REV anta. Revenue is made description. Now I'll take to the screen. Now this is my technical name of the key figure, descriptions, and here you can specify what type of key figure do you want. If I want to, when do you go for amount? If I want to hold a numeric value associated with currency, then I will go with what? అమౌంట్. కాబట్టి చూడు అమౌంట్ అంటే అడుగుతుంది కరెన్సీ చెప్పు అంటే అప్పుడు నుంచి. దెన్ దర్ సంథింగ్ క్వాంటిటీకి నెంబర్కి ఏం ఇంటీజర్. క్వాంటిటీ ఆల్సో విల్ హ్యావ్ నంబర్స్, నెంబర్ ఆల్సో విల్ హ్యావ్ నంబర్స్. దెన్ వాట్ ఇస్ డిఫరెన్స్? వెన్ యూ సే క్వాంటిటీ, యూ ఆర్ సేయింగ్ ఇట్ విల్ హోల్డ్ నంబర్స్ బట్ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ టు బి అసోసియేటెడ్ విత్ సమ్ యూనిట్ ఆఫ్ మెజర్, కేజీనా లీటర్స్ ఆర్ బ్యాగ్స్ అని. అండ్ వెన్ యూ సే నంబర్, ఇట్స్ ప్యూర్ నంబర్ విత్ number with the decimals. When you say integer, it's what? Number without decimals. Like say for example, number of employees in a company. Is it a key figure or not? 1000 members ఎంతమంది అని లెక్కేస్తాను. It can be quantified. So number of employees is a key figure. 10.2 ఉంటారు ఉంటే ఫుల్ మనిషి ఉంటాడు కాబట్టి there is no decimal into it. So when you want to hold a key figure with full number, whole number, then you go with what? Integer. And if you want to go with date, then it is date. You can also have date with key figure. If you want to go with time. ఇప్పుడు నాకు క్వశ్చన్ ఉన్నాను అడగాల. So while creating characteristic, I have date. While creating keyword also, I have date. కదా, నువ్వు నన్ను క్వశ్చన్ ఏమడగలంటే అన్న, సోర్స్లో డేట్ ఫీల్డ్ ఉంటే, లెట్స్ ఇన్ ద సోర్స్ ఐ హ్యావ్ డేట్ ఫీల్డ్ కాలం, For this column, I need to have one InfoObject, right? I can satisfy two requirements. For this column, I can create a characteristic with data type as what? Dates, or I can create a key field with data type as date. Avuna rendu unnai options. Source lo unna prati column ki mana BW lo InfoObject kavala. Naaku source lo date column undi. Ippudu BW lo date InfoObject kavala. అది డేట్ ఇన్ఫార్మేట్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్ పాసిబిలిటీ ఉంది, కీవర్డ్ కూడా డేట్ ఉంది. అవునా? నువ్వు ఎలా డిసైడ్ చేస్తావు అది కీవర్డ్గా ఉండాలా క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్గా ఉండాలా అని? అర్థమైందా లేదన్నా? ఓన్లీ డేట్ టైం దగ్గర ఈ కన్ఫ్యూజన్ చూడు. అర్థమైందా కదన్నా? సోర్స్, ఇన్ ద సోర్స్ ఐ హ్యావ్ ఎ కాలమ్ విచ్ హోల్డ్స్ డేట్స్ ఇన్ ఇట్, అండ్ దిస్ కాలమ్ షుడ్ హ్యావ్ వన్ ఇన్ఫార్మేట్ ఇన్ BW. I have got two options here. One is I can accommodate this column in BW with characteristic with informative of type characteristic with the database what dates. Adok option. One more option is I can accommodate this column with an informative of type key field with the database what date. Rendu options ఉన్నాయి. మరి ఎలా డిసైడ్ చేయాలి? నేను కీవర్డ్ డేట్ బోల్నా లేక క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్ డేట్స్కి వెళ్ళాలా అని. ఓకే రవస్, సపోజ్ లెట్స్ యూ గాట్ అ కాలమ్ లైక్ డేట్ and you got to accommodate this with the InfoObject. Now first decide, do you want to use this date for calculations? If na goods issue date and undi, and I got some date planned goods issue date, I would like to calculate number of days within these two. Then I'll go with what key figure. If you want to use this date for analysis, like on this day how many transactions were done, what was my best day of transactions, then what I'll do, characteristic. Adi pa ఆ డేట్ బట్టి నువ్వు క్యాలిక్యులేషన్ చేస్తున్నావురా అంటే కీవర్డ్గా వెళ్ళాలి. దాన్ని బట్టి లేదా దాన్ని బట్టి అనలైజ్ చేయాలన్నప్పుడు దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ బి క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్. అర్థమైందన్నా? సేమ్ విత్ టైమ్. చూడు ఇప్పుడు నాకేం కావాలి, నాకు అమౌంట్ పెట్టగానే ఐ గట్ టూ డే టైప్స్ హియర్. కర్ ఇస్ వాట్ కరెన్సీ వాల్యూ, అండ్ దెన్ వాట్ ఫ్లోట్. కరెన్సీ పెడితే ఏమైతే 2 డెసిమల్స్ వస్తుంది. ఇఫ్ ఐ సే ఫ్లోట్ ఇలా 16 డెసిమల్స్. ఇప్పుడు కరెన్సీ పెట్టేసి ask me currency అడుగుతుంది మనం. Since it is amount, it will ask me currency boss. Now there are two possibilities boss. One is all the values in this column could be of same currency or could different currencies. అవును కదన్నా? ఇప్పుడు నీ సినారో ఏందన్నా, దీంట్లో అదే ఉన్నవన్నీ ఒకటే కరెన్సీనా అర్థం? దెన్ ఐ కెన్ సే INR అని ఇచ్చేసి యాక్టివ్ క్రియేట్ అండ్ లోపల చూడొచ్చు ఎంత లెంత్ వచ్చిందంటే. ఇక్కడ గో టు అడిషనల్ ప్రాపర్టీస్, దర్ ఇస్ సంథింగ్ డేట్ ఎలిమెంట్. ఇక్కడ డబుల్ క్లిక్ ఆన్ దిస్ అండ్ సీ వాట్ కర్ డే టైప్ లెంత్ 17, డెసిమల్స్ ఎంత ఉన్నా 2. అదే ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడికి వెళ్ళి ఫ్లోట్ పెట్టినా అనుకో, లెంత్ డెసిమల్స్ ఎంత అన్నా 16. విల్ ఇట్ ఇంక్రీజ్ డెసిమల్ ప్రెసిషన్ వెన్ యూ గో విత్ ఫ్లోట్? అది ఇది క్రియేటింగ్ కీవర్డ్ అండి. ఫస్ట్ టైం కదా అట్లే ఉండదు, ఇంకా డెప్త్ వెళ్ళలే. ఓకే, దిస్ అబౌట్ క్రియేటింగ్ కీ ఫిగర్స్. ఓకే, సపోజ్ నాకు ఇలా కావాలనుకున్నా, సే నెట్ సేల్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్, నెట్ సేల్స్ అనుకున్నా, లేదా ఆర్డర్ వాల్యూ. ఇలా ఉంది నాకు ఆర్డర్ వాల్యూ. ఓకే, వాట్ ఈస్ ఆర్డర్ వాల్యూ? వాట్ యూ మీన్ ఆర్డర్ వాల్యూ? లెట్స్ సే సేల్స్ ఆర్డర్ వాల్యూ అనుకో. లెట్స్ ఐ గెట్ అన్ ఆర్డర్ ఫ్రమ్ ఎ కస్టమర్ అండ్ ద టోటల్ వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ దట్ ఆర్డర్, అంటే వన్ ఆర్డర్ కెన్ హ్యావ్ మల్టిపుల్ ఐటమ్స్. అన్ని ఐటమ్స్ అన్ని ఇస్తే నాకు ఎంత డబ్బులు వస్తాయి అనేది వాల్యూ. ద టోటల్ వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ ద ఆర్డర్ వాట్ ఈస్ ప్లేస్డ్ విత్ ద కస్టమర్. లెట్స్ ఇట్ ఇస్ 1200 and 1230. Let's say I manage global companies, so I get orders throughout the world. I might have one order coming from India, I might have one order coming from US, whatever it is. Okay, then let's say this is the value in the transaction currency. Let's say my customer in US would do a transaction with me in USD. My customer in India would do a transaction with in what? In INR. So now ఏమంటే ఈ ఆర్డర్ వాల్యూ వచ్చేసి ఇది USDది, ఈ ఆర్డర్ వాల్యూ వచ్చేసి INR. ఇప్పుడు ఇన్ దిస్ కేస్ I have a keyword order value. I have a keyword order value where each value are of different currencies. Based on the transaction, my currency would change in that column. అవునా? రెవెన్యూలో ఏమైందన్నా ఆల్ వాల్యూ ఆర్ ఆఫ్ సేమ్ కరెన్సీ, బట్ ఇన్ దిస్ ఈ కేసులో ఏంది ఒక్కొక్క వాల్యూ ఒక్కొక్క కరెన్సీలో ఉండొచ్చు అన్నట్టు. ఓకేనా? డన్. సో అలాంటప్పుడు ఏం చేయాలి? దిస్ ఇస్ కీవర్డ్. సరే, ఈ కాలం ఏంది? వాట్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ఫోర్మేట్ ఇస్ దిస్? Excellent. Unit characteristics. Because when you want an InfoObject to hold currencies like USD, INR or unit of measures, then you go to what? Unit characteristics. Okay. So when it comes to unit characteristics, what SAP does is there are two, chala unnai, but mainly there are two main unit characteristics which are delivered by SAP as part of business control. One is zero currency, one is zero unit ready already. SAP has already delivered you two ready-made unit characteristics. One is zero currency and zero unit and rendu ichchadamma. Okay, Nanda? If you want, you can use it. See, if you want to hold currencies like this, what information can I use zero currency here? Ilanti column ki zero currency vadocha. Suppose if you want to hold like values like kg, liters, grams, bag, and measures better. Now what can I use in this case? Zero. Atta rendu ready-made unnai. Zero currency ani ichchadu, zero unit ani ichchadu. Okay. If you want, you can use them, no issues. If you want, you can use zero currency. If you want, you can use zero unit, straightforward. Okay, which is already given by SAP. I can show you the definition what is given. Ikkade chudochu, you can just search in this InfoObject like zero. Edukite kanpichinda, double click kotte chudochu. Look at the symbol, it tells you symbol chudu, what is it? Unit characteristic annattu. ఏంది చూడు వాట్ ఇస్ పేరు చూడండి యూనిట్ కట్ అవుతుందా అదే వాడిని అంటాడు కరెక్ట్ పొద్దున యూ సీ దిస్ వాట్ ఇస్ ఇట్ నో యూనిట్ అండ్ ద నేమ్ ఇస్ దిస్ అప్పుడు కట్ అవుతుందా మీరు చెప్పలేదా లాంగ్ డిస్క్రిప్షన్ ఇట్స్ వాట్ కరెన్సీకి అండ్ డిస్క్రిప్షన్ ఇస్ ఫైన్ సో లైక్ దిస్ వాట్ ద పర్సన్ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ ఇస్ వాట్ రూమ్ SAP has given this list. Atla ready gunna ainattu. If you want, you can use this also. Okay, or you can use zero unit also. What is delivered already. But apart from using zero unit or zero currency, if you want, you can create your own unit characteristic also. Okay. Let's say now I want to create one unit characteristic. But you can create your own unit characteristic also. But whenever you are creating unit characteristic, it must be created with reference to zero currency or zero unit. No, zero unit, if you want you can use zero currency, if you want you can use zero unit. If you apart from these two, if you want you can create your own unit characteristic also. If you are creating your own unit characteristic, they must be created with reference of either currency or unit. Etlanti chudu. Suppose I want to create Z CUR and InfoObject create cheyalanna. And when you are creating this, it must be created with reference to either what? Zero currency or what? So when you create reference, what happens? This InfoObject will be created with same properties of zero currency. If I create this reference of zero, then this InfoObject will get created with same properties of zero. That is reference. When you say reference, all the properties of the main object is copied to this. Now InfoObject A undi. If I say create InfoObject B by taking A as a reference, all the properties of A are copied to B. You will not be able to change any properties of B. Now InfoObject A undanda. Now I am creating B by taking A as a reference. All the properties of A are copied to B, and you cannot modify properties to B at all. You just can only activate. No changes possible. Good. Very good question. Okay, good. First, let me show you how to create it, then I'll deal with that. Why you want to create. Where do I create it? Now, I only have catalog for char and I only have catalog for key figures. Yeah? Do I have a catalog for unit characteristic? No, you cannot create, right? So then what do you do? When you want to create unit characteristic, you should get into this. What is node? As soon as my BW system is installed, if you look at fresh new system, you will see this unassigned node info here. Expand this. You will get to see a catalog for units. What is it? Not assigned unit. This is the catalog for, you can do to the ready-made. You can use it. Now right click on this and say what? Create InfoObject. Now what kind of unit is this? What kind of InfoObject is this? Create unit characteristics. So ZCURR. List of currencies. So So I'm creating this InfoObject which can hold list of currencies in it. Now look at what is the reference? This Z curve is create a reference of this. Correct. Option ready button. If I select unit of measure, it takes reference of what? If I take select currencies, then what? Atla. That's nothing else. Okay. So when I activate, all the properties of zero currency will get copied to Z curve. This is how you can create unit characteristics. So I have question. Excellent question. He is asking, boss, when SAP has given you zero currency and zero unit, where you can use zero currency for currencies, zero unit for unit, what would be the requirement to create a new one? Correct a question? Look at my answer. Now what I say is, once I have zero currency, can I use this in 25 cubes? Yes? Let's say, can I use zero currency twice in one cube? No. Let's say I wanted to have two currency columns. I'm modeling a cube. I want two currency columns. One is holding transaction currency. Let's say one is holding company code currency. I want two currency columns. Let's say one is the currency column for order value. One is the currency column for net amount. So can I use zero currency twice in one cube? Now what I'll do, in one scenario I'll accommodate with zero currency. For next column I'll create Z curve, a reference of zero currency, and use it. Is the question solved? Good. So now you can create unit characteristics. Now I want to create this keyword. Like I want to create a keyword order value which can hold value in different currencies. You know how to create this, right? With same currency. But I want this case. If this is the case, how do you create a key figure? Look at this. So right click on the catalog. I say what? What is it? Create InfoObject. What is your name? BW order value. What should be the type? Amount or not? Order value of the order. What is it? Amount. Sir, amount. Okay. But is it fixed currency? Do you want to fix the value? Do you want to fix the currency? No. Then what do you do? Why don't you fix? Because each value differs with different currency. If each value is differing with different currency, you will have a separate column which will have the currencies in it. Then I will say reference this to zero currency, or I will say now when I do this, wherever this keyword goes, your zero currency column will be following it. Order value will have the value, the currency of it will be in zero currency. Or instead of using zero currency, can I use Z curve which I just created? Also can be used. Like this, you can create a keyword associated with the unit characteristic when each value could differ in different currencies. You getting this? Wherever my keyword goes, my currency will be following it. Keyword will have the value and currency column will have the currency of it.
So whenever we have amount field, currency key is mandatory in source or only amount field?
Where?
In source file.
I can never control the source. If you are not happy with the way what is storing, what it will transform the data. That's it. We can never control them. While bringing it to BW, I will transform the data what I want. Because in some source they might be storing like this. Kada. It will be under kontamandi. So while extracting, what I will do, I will transform. I will write a routine RS and convert it to INR. If it is dollar symbol, convert it to USD in logic raskunta. I will write an ABAP logic to convert that out. That is what we deal as part of transformations. Clear on this? Chuddam. So did you understand this in active? This is about creating a keyword. Already exists. Okay, activate icon. So this is about creating keyword which can hold different currencies. Suppose I want a keyword like the sales quantity sales quantity which can hold like 12.50 kgs, 10.34 grams. This kgs, this grams. Then you need one more column called what? Unit. Now I will create quantity with referencing to what? Unit. what is it? Quantity.
0.
Suppose if I say all values are in same unit, then what I can do? I can go give fixed unit as what? kg ఏదో ఇచ్చేయచ్చు. ఇంకా డెప్త్ ఉంది దాంట్లో, బట్ అండర్స్టాండ్ ది థిల్ హియర్ ఇస్ ఫైన్. అంతేనా? This is creating key. Can I create time characteristics, boss? No, we cannot create time characteristics, but we can only use the time characteristic what is delivered by SAP. అవన్నీ ఇక్కడ ఉంటాయి. When you go to unassigned notes, you'll have catalog for what? Time, expand this, ఇవన్నీ ఉన్నాయి చూడు. Cal day, year, week, month, quarter, fiscal year period, variant period. So these are the time characteristics what you can use. But you can never create a time characteristics at all. ఓకే బస్. చూడొచ్చు క్యాల్డే అంటే డేట్స్, ఇయర్ అంటే ఇయర్, అట్లా అన్నీ ఉన్నాయి. ఓకే బస్. టెక్నికల్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ యూ కెనాట్ సీ దెమ్, యూ విల్ సీ దెమ్ వెన్ ఐ స్టార్ట్ బిల్డింగ్ ఎ క్యూబ్ యూ విల్ గెట్ టు సీ దెమ్. ఇట్లా లైక్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ ఐ విల్ షో దెమ్ నౌ. ప్రొవైడర్ లెట్ సే దిస్ ఏదో క్యూబ్ పెట్టినారు. సో డిస్ప్లే ఫర్ డిస్ప్లే ద క్యూబ్. దాంట్లో ఇవి ఉన్నాయి. వాట్ ఈస్ ఆల్ దిస్? వాట్ ఈస్ రిక్వెస్ట్ ఐడి, రికార్డ్ టైప్, చేంజ్, ఆల్ దీస్ ఆర్ వాట్ ఈస్ ఆల్ దీస్ ఆర్ టెక్నికల్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్. యూ విల్ నెవర్ యూజ్ దెమ్. బై డిఫాల్ట్ క్యూబ్లోకి వచ్చేస్తుంటాయి, ఆటోమేటిక్ దే కమ్ ఇన్ టు ద క్యూబ్. యూ విల్ నెవర్ క్రియేట్ దెమ్. సో దిస్ అబౌట్ క్రియేటింగ్ ఇన్ఫోబ్జెక్ట్స్. ఇన్ఫోబ్జెక్ట్స్ వరకు ఓకేనా బస్? బేసిక్ అంత ఇట్లే ఉంటుంది.